Greetings, good evening, one and all. Welcome to Channel Other Doc. You know what I forgot to do? I'll show you what I forgot to do. I'll do it right now. There you go. Now you've all been adequately warned. Welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim, your friendly Lacuna GM. I use he, him pronouns, and this is our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. Invisible Sun is a surreal slice of life game by Monte Cook Games. We are integrating the directed campaign, but most of this game happens spontaneously. Let us go around to those folks we have with us today. Say hi to them, find out who they are and who they're playing once again. And today we shall be starting with Wilde. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm Wilde Engineer, and I am playing. Shantano, an itinerant empath of the Order of Apostate who splinters into fragments. They use they/them pronouns.
Awesome. And now let us head over to Arras. Hello.
Hello. I am Arras. You can use she, they pronouns for me. And I'm playing Aroshka Ruzik, aromatic empath apostate who converses with everything. And you can use she, her pronouns for her.
Awesome. And finally, Anino. Hello.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Anino. I use he, him pronouns, and today I am playing Mac the Husk, uses they, them pronouns. He's an itinerant enthusiastic of the Order of the Goetica who provides a vessel for spirits.
Excellent. Who am I? I have no idea, because the other day there was there was a reading of a play written some time ago called Richard III, and there are 63 characters in that, and I played like a good close to half of them. So I don't know.
There are clips of him acting with himself.
There are. So I'm not entirely. So my identity has yet to cement right now, but which is just as well. It's a good thing I'm the GM then, because that's thankfully my identity doesn't have to be fixed to a single character. But like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that is crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we will back up and we will do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat and we'll fade to black on it, or we will put it behind a veil so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that, again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. And thus, we returned to the actuality. As I was going forth and washing my hands and grabbing a drink and stuff, I kind of remembered what happened last time. It was the situation last time was that something Vor was rather concerned about was the fact that the Eternal Party had disappeared. So the group went to investigate to find out what was going on. Because apparently there were, here's the thing. It wasn't there anymore. There was just police tape over the two known entrances to the Eternal Party. Eventually they found a way to get beyond the portal of it to try to see, okay, there's something leading somewhere here, but it's not to the same place. The Eternal Party being this strange extra-dimensional thing that drifts from co-location to co-location. And they found themselves co-located once again, still in Indigo, but then also in the Silver, under the Silver Sun. And apparently, as they were able to find out, they talked to a few of the workers there, and eventually found their way up to discuss the matter with members of the Angelic Legion that were there, who had apparently come in and started what's all thising all over the place. They got alerted to it somehow. Possibly someone had summoned an angel whilst in a space somewhat partially inhabited by the Eternal Party, and then the angel constable basically informed them that it became where they weren't sure where the original structure was. They're looking for it because they're kind of fugitives at this point, but it sort of detached, and they're not sure where it's ended up. It should be just washing up somewhere somewhere perhaps in Indigo, but the only circumstance that would send it way off is impossible. It's just if you had something that channels in some sort of core from the some sort of etheric nexus, something like that. That might have gone haywire. So it's not entirely possible that one of Oroshka's old devices just sort of blew up and snapped the Eternal Party's hold on reality like a band of elastic. Who knows? Who knows what really happened? but it's possible. So that was, I think, they found that out, and then they came back to the Indigo, and I think that was about it for what happened last time. Now, of course, you still have a number of things you can look into if you so desire. You can continue pursuing that, or you can, if you want, you can always start heading on that train to Yestervale if you so desire. I'm sure there are plenty of other things going on that we can turn our attention to. Let's find out what it is. So, what would you like to do?
I think Shantana would be working on trying to make a new spell right now.
Okay.
Probably doing some research and stuff on it. If there's even any research on it at all.
Okay, let me go ahead and let me try to pull open some things here. What kind of spell are you wanting to put together?
It's like I guess you call it like a communication or messaging spell.
Oh yes. Okay. Let's see. Do you happen to know where it talks about the creation of spells, or is this mostly?
I don't know. I tried. I looked through it in the stuff you gave me. I didn't see anything about it, so I'm not sure how to go about that.
I'm sure there's a way to do it because they're apparently the effects by level table, which is like the cornerstone of this is one of the cornerstones of this system. So it's a thing that's definitely doable. I feel as though it's really just a question of you have a thing where it's you because you can grab the raw stuff of magic and do a thing with it. It's just a question of formalizing that a little bit.
Right.
So let's see. Now, did you want to do this through like were you trying to do a sort of thing where you were through some kind of expenditure of acumen or
Yes, I think I had enough. I enough acumen to make spells.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's acumen I'm thinking of.
Cool,
Yes,
cool.
acumen.
All right. Let me go ahead. Now, is this something that's a thing described under your order, or is this more of a general thing? Do you think?
What do you mean that?
Well, because you're an apostate. Yeah, exactly. Because what I was wondering is if it's. I'm just looking for a thing to see if there's a guide to do a thing before I just suddenly make something up in a few seconds. But let me see here. I wanted to see if there was something under apostates where it was like make a spell, or if that's something else.
I didn't see anything about that.
Okay, we'll just do it then. And now say again what it is you want the spell to do.
It's like a messaging spell type, you know.
Gotcha. I remember we were talking about this a little bit. Okay. All right. So you want to basically just do something where it's like you recite a message and then someone else hears it. What sort of range are you looking for on this?
I was trying to think like if you have like a specific object from the person, you can send them messages. Probably a higher level, they could probably respond back, but probably this thing you could probably it's one way.
Just
probably
one way.
at this point.
Okay. Let me see. All right. I'm just gonna look through this real quick. Okay, it's probably, yeah. So wherever they are in under any sun, is that kind of what we're looking for in terms of range?
Yeah.
Okay. This strikes me as So this strikes me somewhere as the 3 to 5 range.
It could be like another telepathy by touch kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking because it's not quite. Yeah, and they go up, up in levels. Like 4 is telepathy at close range, 5 is telepathy at long range, and 6 is telepathy at limitless range. But in this case, it's just a single one-way thing, and you have to have an object. So I figure if you want it to be limitless, and then we knock it down by at least a couple of things, it's going to be like 3 or 4. Because you have to have an object. Does the object have to be important, or is it just something that they've handled?
I think that's relatively important.
Okay, then in that case, I'd be willing to say that that's a that can be a level 3 effect. Okay. Because you have to have a component that's kind of tied to them in some personal important way.
Right. So what do we do after we figure out the effect number?
So I think that as far as it goes, how do you normally, for right now, how do you normally cast the spells that you have? The ones that you have on the cards and what have you.
Right.
You like? It's going to be the same process, basically, is what I'm saying. For right now.
So it's like the actual spells I actually cast are usually just mostly through like directly touching and just thinking about it. Most of them aren't.
Yeah.
I don't have any very physical spells.
Yeah.
Most of them are just seeing spells or information spells.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty much just a similar process to what you do with that. I think it's, I think you have to, and as I'm sitting here drifting through these half memories of how everything works. But I believe you do the expenditure necessary. We found out it's a level 3 spell, so you do that basically if you need to. Sometimes you might not need to roll, even though necessarily, depending on what the deal is. If it's someone you know. I don't feel like this is one of those spells where it's you're sending a message to somebody, so I don't feel as though it's anything that might necessarily require much in terms of like a roll, because I don't see it being contested at any point. I don't see it being I think the circumstances would have to be kind of remarkable for there to be any for there to be much of a challenge to casting the spell. Basically, is what I'm saying. I don't think we've effectively got the environment or the recipient necessarily resisting per se. What do they experience usually at the other end when they have it happen?
It'd probably be like initially the feeling of like trying to recall a memory type before it starts to, and they hear me talking.
Interesting. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. That sounds good. You know what? I just found a page called Creating New Magical Practices.
Yeah.
What page is that?
That's in the way. That's on in the PDF. It's 18. So
it's not in the key?
No. It's okay. Everything. The interesting thing about Invisible Sun is everything is spread out across like 4 different books, at minimum. So.
Oh dear.
So there's a process. Wherein it goes in, and there's like a series of checks basically for it. I feel as though for something like this, it's probably not going to be, we've got the basic stuff down, as far as what it is, and we know that you're working on it. So I don't think this is going to be too tricky, but it's basically 2 weeks study and experimentation per level of the practice, and typically it says each week it requires 10 crystal orbs worth of special materials, in which its research is complete. The Vizsla must attempt an intellect-based action with the level of the new practice as the challenge. I'm just going to kind of assume you were working on that in the background. We don't have to necessarily dive into anything that isn't to you narratively interesting, unless you come up with a thing that you think is like, we really need this thing to make this work, and we could explore that a bit. But I'm willing to kind of take it as read that this is an ongoing process that's happening right now, and you've got at least a basic sort of version, test version, if you will, of the spell together at this point. If you're good with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So you've been about how long have you do you think you've been looking into that? Because I know you've mentioned it before.
Probably since they completed the ritual with Icthama, they got the idea that.
Okay. So that
contacting
feels
someone else. Yeah.
That feels like a few days. Because that was before Limerence Street came back, and so there were... Some people experienced 3 days that someone else didn't. And I think you were in the party that experienced the extra time. So we can say it's been something in the neighborhood roughly of a couple weeks-ish. Time is a strange beast. So you're roughly 1/3 of the way through, at least 1/3 to 1/2 of the way through finalizing it. I think it's probably where we are at this point. So you're kind of so you've been looking into that. What else have we been doing?
So Mac has obviously been spending most of his time taking care of the Jenga tower and trying to figure out what he needs to do, what's been neglected, and what he needs to start observing. Other than that, and pursuing his advancement within the Order of the Goetica, he hasn't really had much to do. He's always been more of a tag-along person on other people's adventures rather than starting on his own. So
Cool. I think that we are going to zoom in and get into more detail on the tower itself. I think probably sometime soon. But as far as sort of general impressions thus far we've had, I feel the urge to turn a card over. Let's see. Okay, let me make sure also that... Okay, that's weird. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Let me go ahead and get us over here so that we might look at said card. Oh, crap. No, I did the wrong thing. Well, that's alright. We'll have another card soon. Okay. Turn that off and back on again. There we go. Alright. So, the card that I have grabbed is the rat. So among the so as a reminder, its meanings are survival, resistance, shadows, and concealment. It's a mysteries card. It's the companion of mysteries. Rats are masters of survival. They're hardy, smart, and stealthy. Some rats, of course, get very smart and devise whole new ways of prospering amid humans, literally right under their noses. A few rats learn to adopt human identities through disguise, concealment, and trickery. Humans as a group are notoriously easy to fool as long as you don't overly threaten them, and rats have no need to do so. And the rat sees much and learns much and keeps those secrets to itself. It keeps to the shadows, and in fact is the lord of the shadows. So here's the thing. It's one of those things where, okay, once you actually get to the tower, just as and you can, you communicate with the big Tetris spirit who is finally able to go off and do other stuff, because now you can just basically, that apparently, and from what the Tetris spirit kind of explains to you, you kind of have to, it's like you have to move at least 1 block a day. And you can do more than that if you want to. But there is a question of keeping it in balance. If you move only one block during the day, then it's going to move very slowly over the course of the day. Basically, from from a lower part of the tower to the upper part of the tower. Apparently what the foreman did is every morning he would get up and he would check it, and he would do a process where he would figure out what to move.
It doesn't. Does it follow the actual rules for Jenga, in which you can only move one block from anywhere in the tower to another spot? Or could you move two at the same time? Could you slide them along the line and balance things out so that, if for whatever reason you run out of Jenga pieces on a little particular place, you might want to sort of slide it out like a magician does with the tablecloth.
So, from what you've gathered, it looks like it perhaps should... Here's the thing. The more you look at this thing, the more labyrinthine it looks. But because there is a certain motion that it does on its own. You think it should be possible probably to do that. But it's going to probably take a certain amount of practice and sort of understanding of its own kind of internal motion. Because the thing is, so there's the motion that you see happening. And then there's kind of this odd feng shui thing that happens. Ish. That's obviously, I'm not talking about real feng shui here, but this thing that happens where it's like the placement has significance. And there's this sort of strange harmony that gets set up with the other blocks that each block is close to. And so it's kind of like if there is too much sameness for a block, then it kind of starts going stale. That's kind of the best way to do, or the sort of what you've gleaned at this point. And it's not literally stale. It's just as though it's like something, the environment or something to which it's connected is the apartment, quote unquote, to which it's connected is not ceases to function in quite the right way, and there gets to be a certain amount of bleed, homogenization among the blocks, apparently. Which kind of makes sense to you, since this is kind of descended from a concept from the gold. So it is a thing where you kind of have to keep everything moving one way or another. But the way that the foreman chose to do that was to just move everything slowly, so that he would only have to deal with so much of it at a time. The actual... You have yet to fully get in and kind of look into the contents of the contents of the apartments. But apparently there's a lot of variety. And, you get, like I said, there are a number of requests that come in, which you may either ignore or fulfill as you desire. Apparently, though, you are able to glean just from what you've seen, there are members of the Rat Parliament living in this building somewhere.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Wish Formera should be here to visit them.
Apparently a couple of them are locals.
It's fair. So I don't think he's doing too much. He might have open office hours, I guess,
Okay.
for residents to meet him in person if he wants, if they want. But he'll only do that for an hour until
Open office hour.
Let's be real.
The office hour is very clearly posted. It's noon to 1.
No. It's not even that. It's like 12:35 to like 1:35. It's a very
12:35 to
odd.
1:35. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think he will do that, and maybe might just wait for Aroshka or someone else to stop by and distract him from having to fulfill his responsibilities as as a Jenga lord.
Yes.
Jenga Lord. That can be your new title.
Yes. Okay. So let me find out what Aroshka has been up to.
I feel like Aroshka's very upset because she fucked up all the things. But we agreed that we were gonna go do this thing and get this ice stuff before we did anything about it. So I feel like the first thing she probably did was go home and complain to the mime.
The mime was very attentive and listened. Didn't say a word.
Crazy.
Yes.
After which, she's just looking for things to do. If the new Jenga Lord would like a visitor, Oroshka can oblige.
Also, was there not a time, and I'm not trying to handle it here, but I think I'm remembering this, and you can tell me if I'm not. Wasn't there a point where Shantanu was trying to get more information about this tower, or am I imagining that?
More that they were just interested in goings on, you know. It's just an object of curiosity.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now you know the superintendent, so it's entirely up to you if you would like to. Well, actually, and that's right. There was a point where you were. You might actually. It just occurred to me. There's a chance you might be following Aroshka anyway. But do you also want to come along on this?
Sure.
Entirely up to you. Entirely up to you.
Yeah. Knowingly following.
Okay, so yes, we can say that. So there's the office at the bottom is stable, and it's kind of it's interesting because it looks like the most spacious. Like the apartment at the bottom looks like it's the most spacious. It takes up like the whole, the whole block area. But once you get inside, it looks very much like kind of a cramped apartment of the sort one might find in a big city. And it's got there's a lot of white tile. Around white kind of dirty tile. The foreman is not what we would call a neat person. Has like a drafting desk and papers all over the place, different things. Lots of magazines stacked up in different places. He has shelves with books. And kind of sort of old furniture, kind of in different points. He has a kitchenette, and a sort of little coffee table, and sort of little dining table where folks can we're enough to fit like two people. So yeah, basically a little apartment.
Well, obviously, this place is going to need some refinement at some point. Luckily, we know a gentleman who specializes in smart wood furniture.
This is true.
We do.
This is true.
But,
Balthazar has been busy.
So, but I think that Mac will probably hold his office hour outside of the building, maybe on a park bench while he's drinking coffee.
Excellent. Oh dear God. No, Jim, don't ask. Don't ask. Please don't ask. I have to ask. What brand of coffee are you drinking?
It's this new brand that just came out called Found Familiar.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. You can even enter a code to get a free, a slight discount on your order.
That's fascinating.
But it's very, very artisan.
Yeah.
Very spiritual.
It's good. It's good. And does it? Does one feel as though one has found something more familiar when one drinks it?
I find that my familiar Sagan actually experiences the effects of Found Familiar coffee. It benefits from them as well. So.
Yep. If you have some, you know exactly where he is.
That's right. We bond over a cup of Found Familiar coffee.
Awesome. Oh, for sponsorship. Okay. So you folks, Shantanu and Orochi, you come up and you see that you see Mac has sitting out on this has put some sort of some outdoor furniture out here, and have you started ordering smart furniture yet, or are you just now setting up stuff that okay?
Yeah, no, he's just outside. He hasn't really had time to redecorate the apartment because he's not really sure what he wants to do. So.
Cool. And I think that you kind of see. Let me see if you see anyone out there currently trying to take advantage of the office hour. I did draw another card, so let me see what that is. Oh my God. Okay. One sec, whilst I open this. Okay. This is that card that I have drawn that I have to give a warning for to anyone in the audience who might have arachnophobia. If you have arachnophobia, you may want to either click away for a moment. This will only be on for about a minute or two, and then I will take it off. And this card I'm going to show now is the Harvesting Spider. It is a mysteries card. Red magic is up, blue magic is down. Its meanings are action, labor, and stealth. I think we may have gotten it before, but we haven't had it a lot. But spiders are so many things: builders, weavers, and caretakers, but also hunters, killers, and blood drinkers. The harvesting spider cares for her young, but at the expense of what she harvests, and that just might be you. She is stealthy and sneaky. Her many footsteps are silent. Regardless, spiders never stop working. They build and create to serve specific purposes. So I think that a newly erected structure becomes important. That's one of the meanings here. There is a there's sort of this line going out to the and I'll go ahead and take that image off. Yeah, so there's this. It's not a long line, but there is this sort of this cluster of individuals, people who are just sort of standing very sort of straight backed, and it looks like there's something weird about them. That sort of there's these flickering images you're seeing of like anytime they turn, it's like you're for a second out of the corner of your eye, it looks like there's something on their back. And there are three of them. And what they've basically, what they're down complaining about is the view. They haven't been moved in quite a while, and so they're still they're still just seeing the same one thing. And they were wondering why that's the case, because it's they kind of clearly in their rental agreement they were supposed to have more of a view than they currently are having. They can't really see they're having trouble seeing. There's apparently a there's apparently a large rotating pipe that they're having trouble seeing, that they want to be able to see again.
I'm sorry. What was your name again?
And and they look briefly at each other. These three these three little old women, possibly. And the one who's been speaking to you, she says, Olena.
Ah, Elena. Why is this view of the rotating pipe very important to you?
And as she sort of she stops for a second, and she always seems to do this before answering a question. She like stops as though listening to something. And she says, It is because when you are looking at it at different angles, it is a different thing. And because it is a different thing, then it makes it so we may how do I say this? We may better represent ourselves.
You see yourselves in a rotating pipe. Do I see this rotating pipe? Is it a part of the Jenga tower itself, or is
you
it
have
some sort
no
of
idea what they're talking about.
Okay. So you just see Mac just looking up like this. that, and he's actually holding his testament of sons in his hand. So, because of that, you can actually now see Sagan sitting on his shoulder.
Excellent. Yeah. There's a Sagan's a crow or a raven?
Crow.
Crow. So there's this crow sitting on Mac's shoulder, just kind of like.
And do you see a rotating pipe?
Not from out here, I guess. Maybe there's one you can see from inside or something. Or at least from inside their apartment. Maybe if it was somewhere else, like in a different position on the tower or something.
Huh.
That's all I can guess. I mean, it's I've tried flying through a couple of these, and I'm not sure how to describe it really. But they're like windows in each apartment has windows, and the windows are look out on different things that aren't out here.
So So you're saying that it's in another dimension, or maybe a different sun? Is it a view into a different sun?
Yeah, maybe a half world.
Half world.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of like the ones you can hit up off of the northeast end of town. I don't know why I'm using my hands. He's a bird.
Just using the wings.
Yeah, he's using the wings, sort of.
So I don't know where this. How on earth am I going to see that? So I'll tell you what. If you go into your block right now, I will move the block, and then you will just keep telling me. I'm going to move your block around, and then you tell me to stop when when you see the rotating pipe.
That's going to go so well. And they just sort of look, and they exchange glances kind of with each other. Sort of with each other, but it's like they're not meeting each other's eye lines quite, which is weird. And Olena nods and says, all right, we do this. And the three of them turn, and they march back toward basically the there's like a side door that leads to the into the foreman's apartment, and then sort of like another door. It's like a main door type gig.
Sure.
That leads to whatever apartment is yours, apparently. You're still sort of figuring that one out. And they go in, and you know, you've got whole, you know which block it is, so you can move it if you like, or set it up on a pre-programmed move if you'd prefer.
I think what he will do is he'll move it like 6 or 7 rows up into whatever empty spot there is in there, and see what happens. But he's probably not going to do it in a slow fashion. It's going to be like he's jamming a puzzle piece through one of those little toy boxes.
Wow. So I feel as though it would be irresponsible of me not to call for a roll right now. Although I could just draw a card instead. Let me ask, do you want to try to employ any sort of skill toward this, or shall I draw a card? Let me just ask you that question.
I'll leave my fate to the cards here.
All right. Let's see what happens. Okay. Yeah, it's strange. For some reason, it's not reflecting the changes. Unless I do this. Well, even that. Wait, and nope. Huh. That's strange. Well, oh yeah, that's right. I need to switch it over and then switch it back. There it is. That's strange. Okay. It is not behaving. But that said, the card that I drew here. Oh, this is very auspicious for this move. The card that I drew for this move is the Savage Sword. The Savage Sword. Its meanings are war, savagery, strength, violence, and brute force. The sword is a weapon of war, a metaphor for any kind of weapon one might wield. It's our basest nature, our prediction toward violence, and our shameful bloodlust. But it's also our strength to overcome obstacles and foes when we need to. It's the opposite of thought, strategy, or consideration. It's medium decisive without hesitation or regard for consequence. It's the opposite of the revealing knife in most respects. So yeah, after a moment, you hear the blower ringing in the apartment. It's ringing very loudly and urgently.
Okay, I'll answer it.
So you guys, you see Matt get up and he just sort of walk to the apartment and he pulls up this near the door. There's this sort of old-timey phone-looking thing attached to a pipe, and you hear what sounds like something roaring in the background, and like the clash of steel, and you hear, my God, move it, keep moving it, oh God!
Okay. Don't panic. He will slide. You'll attempt to manipulate it and slide it up another 6 or 7 rows up.
Okay. I think this time I am going to just briefly ask you to roll a die for me so we can see how well this goes.
What am I rolling?
This is a
because I feel like game theory should apply here.
I feel okay. Yeah. So this is yeah. So you're trying to still puzzle this out. It's I'm gonna assign it sort of a base challenge of like 7 of this thing because you have yet to really sort of you're not familiar with it yet. And so if you use game theory, how many levels of game theory do we have?
I have 3.
Okay, so that'll knock it down to a 4 or better.
Okay. Can I apply an intellect benefit for it?
Absolutely.
So, all right.
So down to 3. Okay, and that's exactly what you needed. So you're like, you move it higher up. She's like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh, there it is. And then you hear this strange rustling, sort of also coming over the line somehow, and they're like, yes, there it is. And say, thank you very much. She hangs up.
Oh, That is one satisfied tenant. I am done for the day. He says as he dusts his hands off. Office hour is closed.
The maximum limit is one person.
That took a lot of effort.
So yeah, Aroshka, you and Shanano are just sort of standing there watching this.
Ah,
As he closes office hours and all the people start meandering off, it's just like, was that it?
well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to set the bar too high. People might have expectations.
How many tenants do you have?
How many tenants do I have? Sagan, did you check that number?
Yeah. 163 at last count.
Ah, okay. 163.
Well, hopefully they don't all have an issue at once. Take them almost half a year to get through it.
Yes. I mean, maybe I might hire a superintendent, but, for now, just have to manage things. So, did you guys have anything you wanted to do today? Because I need a break from this back-breaking work.
Go find some place to eat.
I mean, do you think we should scout that village? Maybe just get a lay of the place before Shah and Formera arrive?
How far away was it again? Like, wasn't it like a day's travel or something?
3 days by train.
3 days by train. Unless you have some variety of scrying ability that I wasn't aware of, I don't think we can do that.
I will say that if you decide you want to start on that journey, that Shaw and or Vor may appear suddenly on the train with you at some point in the near future. They are probably in shadow right now, so they will be drawn to whatever is happening, probably.
I mean, I am really curious as to what kind of train we'd be traveling on. I think that's an adventure. I bet they even have a dining car.
Yeah, probably just regular food though.
Well, maybe we can get some upgraded tickets and travel in a more luxury end of the train spectrum. Maybe like one of those murder mystery trains where you have to solve a murder.
Is that a thing?
It could be a thing.
We could test out a spell I've been trying to make.
Does it involve murder?
Not now.
Mac just looks relieved.
Murder's
What
not
does it
that
do?
bad once you get to know them.
I mean, it's always a good story about a murder.
It's just a communication spell. You know, something where I can talk to people, get to know them from afar. Yeah, so we can chat when we're not in the same location. Like friends do.
Yeah, I suppose we can do that. Does this bypass the noosphere entirely?
Hopefully.
Yeah, those carriers can be terrible.
Never know until you try it out, right?
Well, let's at least check the train stations and, see what the options are.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's either that or we try to try to find the missing party.
technically, won't they be back in a bit? Didn't they say it would correct itself?
Possibly.
Did they say it would correct itself? I was under the impression we needed to do something because we decided that we would wait to do it until after we got the ice.
They said that they thought it would correct itself because the only way it would drift further out would be if, something impossible had happened.
Oh yeah.
Like getting, it being tethered by like some kind of theoretical etheric nexus of some kind.
Right.
The kind that doesn't exist.
That's right.
Exactly. The kind that I totally did not accidentally go into.
Exactly.
Hashtag oops. Yeah, so we do have to do something, but we decided we would go to this town and do the ice thing first.
I guess we could always check out the train. May as well. The train itself isn't far away, right?
No, it's not. But we can always figure out which way we want to go.
Not gonna be like that empty train station, will it?
Hopefully not.
You'll need.
I mean, we could always also see if the mime has a way to transport us to that town. I mean, except for dealing with the Guardian, the ship trip wasn't actually all that bad.
Sure, let's go check out the train. At least we can get tickets.
Maybe get something good to eat around there.
Probably. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I didn't put the Saturnine map in there, but I did put a map of a new map of the Indigo. In your handouts. But that's not going to help us much right this second. So, the part of town that you're heading into, sort of south end, is where the train station is. Let me go ahead and the one that actually functions. 13 station you can't go to because it was never completed. Not in this reality, anyway. So let me go ahead and open up the city here real quick so that I've got it in front of me. Okay. So yeah, so there's a tram basically that you can take from, well, actually, wait a minute, you're probably not that far. You're going to be going to the district of River, to the Indigo rail station. So yeah, you have to head from out from the Fartown Gateway, in the middle of Fartown into the Hollows, and you can take a tram if you want. Basically, it'll go down. It'll go down through Brick House and down into the district of River. Yeah, a lot of the places between the established districts are still kind of war torn in Saturnine, and you've all seen this before. But a lot of buildings still kind of rubble, or certain areas where there are hate cysts, and so there are places where you just have these rifts in reality with glowing light coming out of them, that kind of deal. But in the districts themselves, they are functional. And so you head down to the River district. Which is sort of fed. It surrounds the Sherds River, and of which the Indigo rail station is on the north side of the river. Which eventually, the river kind of snakes down from another place in town. Where is it? It was right in front of me just a moment ago. Here it is. Yeah, it snakes down from the quiet lake, which feeds into, has rivers feeding past the hollows, and so so you're more familiar with the narrow Sanyasa River, which comes out of Quiet Lake. But then the other river that comes out of it is the Shirds River, Chirdes River, and so it goes through, and there are bridges crossing it in the River District. And it is on the north side of that river that you can see this station. Before the river empties out into the Seagate docks, at the Seagate docks, sort of to the west. The Indigo rail station. It's a large station where trains come in from outside the city bearing passengers and goods of all kinds. It's also basically serves as a Saturnine rail station, so you can basically, it's why you can take a tram here and then hop onto a train if you so desire. So you have a lot of folks coming and going. You have it's a pretty big train station. You want to sort of think on something on the order of Grand Central, I think, is kind of what would be give you kind of an idea of what we're looking at here. You see there are a lot of people here, sort of plying their trades. A lot of different stands open, a few restaurants and things like that. There's a big timetable, not unlike at 13 Station, only this is functional. And you've got ticket office, sort of in the middle of things. So things leading to various trains. What would you like to do?
Is there like a ticket booth?
Absolutely. So you got the big sort of series of booths in the center. Well, it's this big one. The ticket office, it's this one big ticket booth basically in the center with a lot of different windows. So you go up to the window and you see there's this lady with black and white stripes behind the counter. And she looks up. Yes, destination?
Oh, I don't remember the name of the town. What was the name of the town?
Yestervale. Yestervale.
Aroshka's gonna say that because she knew.
Of course.
I'm not going to hesitate.
Yestervale. Oh, and a bit far afield. Okay. She looks at it. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up the exciting page on ticket pricing.
Oh boy.
So that's a 3-day, 3-night trip. Down there, it's to get a one-way ticket down there. That is That'll be 10 crystal orbs for the standard. If you just want a regular seat, if you want a spot in a sleeper car, that's 20 crystal instead. 20 crystal orb. 35 crystal if you want a private compartment for one, 50 for two people. So it starts at 10, goes up to...
Is there just one train line here, or are there other train lines on this coming out of this station?
I know Indigo. No, this is the Indigo rail station.
Oh, are there other rail stations that go to Yestervale too?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh,
What's the food situation like on the train?
Very important.
This is true. There is a dining car. And any food you want to get on it is in addition to your ticket price. It sort of depends. There's they have a pretty varied menu.
are there reviews of your dining car?
I believe so. Yeah, there should be some in the bulletin.
What's the Saturino equivalent of Yelp?
Yeah, she's gesturing to a newspaper stand.
Okay. I mean, if it's inadequate, we're probably going to need to either hire a caterer or bring takeout. I mean, totally fair.
How much does a caterer cost?
I guess that depends on the caterer.
I mean, it's 3 days. I feel like we should prepare for at least a meal and entertainment. Meal entertainment, as it were. He'll start reading and checking out the reviews.
Okay. The reviews vary to a certain extent because they sort of had different experiences. You gather that they might have changed chefs recently. I am feeling now the terrible urge to draw another card as you are reading this review. And let's see. The card in question is the Questing Knight, the Apprentice of Visions. The Apprentice of Visions family, the Questing Knight is a stalwart and focused individual seeking justice, but over the long term. So the most interesting review is one it's kind of like this strange, long, rambling story of this gourmand trying to determined to win a battle of wills against the chef, the head chef in the and the dining car of Indigo Rail, eventually it's like, they just sort of keeps making more and more demands of the kitchen, and they keep bringing them out, and eventually, apparently, the person writing this article had to admit defeat because they finally brought out what is described as the perfect tort.
Well, clearly.
So it's like the beginning of the article. It's like I had previously rated this at 2 stars, but now I have no choice but to award a coveted 5 stars because of this one menu item, the perfect tort.
Huh. Now, is this particular gourmand a big deal? Is it like a household name in Saturnine, or is this some sort of local bumpkin like the Phantom Gourmet or something?
So yes. This is hang on. Let me use something. Let me use something other than Hellhound names here. Hang on. There. That looks better. Oh, that looks no better. How dare they? How dare they? Let's see. There we go. This article is by Greca the Devourer. Greca the Devourer is apparently very well known for essentially having a his appetite has been described as a singularity.
Wow, this person is all consuming.
He constantly hungers.
Wow.
Restaurants live in fear of this man.
I feel like this. I feel like this tort might be entertaining enough to have 3 days in a row.
He was apparently defeated by it. Yes.
Let's not rule out a caterer yet. I was always hoping to get one of those chefs that throw their food at you.
Well, I think we might be okay with the dining car.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, and you've had a little time to look over and find out a little more information about the about it. So you have the dining car as part of the experience, and there's also a. So you've managed to find a little document that talks about the different cars. Is that there's a dining car, there's a parlor car, which is a bar, so open bar, and there's a car full of cats. No, wait, there is a there is a garden car, apparently, which is a car that is also a garden. But it has basically it has 10 passenger cars, 4 sleeper cars, a dining car, a parlor car, a garden car, a luggage car, and 3 box cars. Also, apparently a locomotive.
Well, I hope there's a train on this train.
I mean, where else would you put a train if not on a train?
Well,
I suppose we should just grab tickets and make our way over. I think probably the most interesting adventure that we could have until the others meet up with us.
yeah, they know where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have some time if you want to just check. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get some tickets and check out the train, that's perfectly. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's not going to be leaving for a little while.
Have
You
any
know,
way
when-
of getting a message that we're taking this train?
Oh, it's a perfect time to test out that new spell.
True.
Sure. Does anyone have anything of Orshaw's?
Do I? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I totally do. And Mac is going to produce a set of keys to Shaw's mind.
Oh gosh.
Perfect.
Oh my god. Yeah, you've got... Those are important, alright.
Have those.
Yeah, that'll work for Shaw. Aroshka, you might have something of Vor's, possibly.
She's
or you
my
might have-
cousin.
Yeah.
I have an embarrassing childhood photo of Vor.
I don't know how important that is to Vor.
Might work well enough for the purpose of testing out the spell.
I mean, wouldn't you want to hide from that photo, though?
Well, we haven't specified the way in which it needs to be important.
It's true.
So what does this photo look like? Because now Mac is very curious.
That's an excellent question. I feel like it's at some point, you always have like your grandma buys you some outfit that's horrifically like you would never choose to wear this, but your mom is like, grandma bought it for you, so put it on and take a picture. I feel like it's that. It's Vor in some kind of horrifically embarrassing, totally out of character outfit that grandma bought.
Is it a jumper?
Sure. She looks very upset about it.
Awesome.
I guess I can try sending a message.
Okay.
The train is purring gently in the background.
The train is gently purring in the background. I will show you the train in a moment. So Shanano, you are sending this message. Shall we? Now again, this spell is not finished cooking yet. So I am wondering if you would like me to. If you want, you can let me know what message you want to send, and then I can draw a card, and we can see in what way the message is received.
Okay, I guess it'll be boarding the train to Yestervale.
Mm-hmm.
They have great tarts. Unfortunately, no food throwing.
No.
Awesome.
How dare they not throw food at us?
How dare they? I'm
It's
just
the
gonna.
epitome of high cuisine.
I'm just going to mark the time here so that I can then retrieve this message and. Anything else, or just?
Was there anything else anyone else wanted to send?
No.
Okay. So what's going to happen is when we come back to Vor Shah, I'm going to after I've reviewed this message, I'm going to draw a card then, and we will see what they receive.
This can't end horribly at all.
Oh,
Especially
not
given
at all.
our luck with the cards.
It'll be great. It'll be fabulous. So tickets, again, if you just want a regular ticket, just a seat, it's 10 per person. If you want a seat and a sleeper car, that's 20 per person.
I want a sleeper car.
And then if you want a private compartment, it's 35 for one person, or if you want a two-person private compartment, it's 50.
Do I have enough for a private compartment?
And these are crystal orbs they're talking about also, by the way. So that's, remember, crystal orbs are, I think, an order of magnitude greater than glass orbs, if I remember correctly.
Somewhere it says.
Well,
how
my
much
income
money I
is
have.
40 crystal, so
I was gonna say mine's 60 crystal orbs a
Yeah.
week. So
Yeah, we've had a couple of weeks, so you've got it.
Okay.
I also have 150 crystal orbs savings.
Probably get a private so I could practice my spells.
I'll just go with 20. It's a sleeper car.
All right.
I'll go with the private.
Okay, so we've got 2 private cars.
I'll share it with the job when she arrives.
Okay, so yeah, then that's... It's a little cheaper if you want to share.
I like that we're not asking Shaw. Shaw's just gonna show up and be like, "Here, you're bunking, bunking in here.
Awesome.
Hope you like it."
All right, so we've got so you're getting 2 private cars and just a regular seat with sleeper car.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna show you what the tickets look like before I show you anything else, because that's the first thing you're going to see.
Tickets look like something.
As we are here, the Indigo rail tickets.
Fancy.
And
One way we have to buy tickets to fly back to.
Well, we're going to make the town pay for that.
just so folks see what it is that we're talking about, there it is. That's the Indigo rail ticket. And as you're approaching the train, you're going to notice some things. Some things about the train itself. That's probably a little bit unusual. I'll go ahead and show that to you now as well.
Oh boy. It's horrifying.
It's kind of the train that we're looking at right now. It's got some things to it. That's only when it's in motion, actually, that picture of the train. When it's standing still, it seems not quite like that, but it does have wheels and it does have legs. And when you see there's like another train that's moving and it like sort of the end is flapping about. And it is so it is a little odd, kind of in that respect. Basically, as it is kind of described, some of the cars have active spider legs instead of or in addition to the wheels, and when the train moves at full speed, the end of it curls like an animal tail. But that's only visible really from the outside. From the inside, it's perfectly fine.
Well, okay then.
In the passenger car, so it has 10 passenger cars. So in the regular sort of seating areas, there are like this train is when it is gonna, the cars are gonna end up probably by the time everyone's finished seating. There are not a lot of people there right now. There are some who are sitting and waiting. But it'll probably when the cars fill up, it'll be like 3/4 full. There'll be like about 500 passengers on the train right now, or not right now, but when it just before it takes off. 2 of the passenger cars actually have a second story above them for additional seating. They're pretty spacious. You can seat 60 in in each car, just or at least on the not the double deckers. The double deckers are like 120. But you got like 15 rows of 4 seats and an aisle down the middle of that, so 2 on one side, 2 on the other. You get what I'm saying? 15 rows of that. Sleeper car, if you go back to look at that, of the 4 that they have, 2 of them serve as additional passenger cars, but the seats fold back to make 2 tiers of berths. So it's enough to accommodate 30 people. So it's like basically a sort of a sleeper car compartment. You're either on the top or on the bottom, and you sort of get in. You pull the curtains in front of you, and that's basically how that works. Basically, it's a bunch of beds. So that basically it's the ones sort of in the back. It's like are enough to accommodate a total of like 16 people for just the ones that are dedicated sleeper cars. As for your individual rooms, they're decent enough. They've each got all the necessary amenities. Bed, sink, various other, all the necessary plumbing, and what have you. Mirror. Little compartments for a place for you to keep your stuff if you need to. Let's see. You'll look and you'll see that also every now and then probably you'll see these carts that are probably going to get pushed through. So you managed to spot their lunch carts that are not stocked yet, but there's probably there's going to be someone probably when you get going that's going to be pushing a lunch cart down the aisle for people. But the dining car also is there, which looks normal from the outside. On the inside, it's wider than it is long.
Course,
and the kitchen is in the middle. The chef has not arrived yet because the train is not yet about to be underway.
Is it one of those live cooking show demonstration?
It kind
concept?
of is. Yeah.
Oh, guys! And he's just gonna start tugging down their sleeves. Let's go sit at the bar and get the best seats before everybody else arrives.
Ooh, if they cook it live, maybe there will be some food throwing.
You could perhaps politely request that the chef throw some food at you.
I mean, it's not high dining without it.
Maybe they'll fling like shrimp at you, like in a hibachi sort of way.
Oh. Well, I guess if they're not skilled enough to literally throw it at me.
So, one thing I will say that Shantanu is going to notice as you're all sitting down is that across the room, because again, not a lot of people in here as of yet, but see a couple of people, they're starting to stand up from their table. They're looking toward another car. And they're wearing silver and black, and you realize that they look a lot like the people that you saw wearing silver and black in the that big machinery underneath the big top. Those people that you think were associated with the Church of Midnight. You see them get up and they walk out of the car.
Oh dear.
Something we said.
No, they weren't close enough to hear you. They were
Okay.
they were talking to each other.
Oh no, that's what Mac was saying to everybody
Okay.
else.
Think we should find out where they're going, or? Well, we're probably going to the same place.
That'll be weird if the Church of Midnight happens to also be cause problems at Yestervale.
Yeah, weird.
What a coincidence! I guess we're just gonna have to keep an eye out on them.
Yeah, it's not
But
like we
first,
can get a...
food.
So, while the main chef is not going to be here yet because he requires he must be in harmony with the train, and it needs to get going for him to start his performance. There will be some folks coming in to prep a kind of a lunch, because people come in on the train. They just get on the train to have lunch and then leave. Sometimes. And let me go ahead and pull one more card here, so we can see what kind of culinary experience it is.
Culinary.
Because it's not just, of course, the head chef that cooks here. There are others as well who will come in. And, oh dear. Okay.
Oh dear.
All right. So the card that I've drawn is the Doctor.
Oh, good.
The nemesis of visions. Wisdom, health, dependence upon others. Is a harbinger sort of disaster, as it were. Sinister in appearance, but could mean good health and wisdom in dealing with the challenges that life can bring. Always an undercurrent of dependence with the turn of this card. And, so while the head chef is not here yet, there is this point where you have some folks coming and assembling, and one of his assistants apparently comes out. This is the masked chef. He's wearing, it's like wearing a chef's outfit, but also a mask and a cape. Basically. And it sort of comes out. There's a smattering of applause. As he comes out. As this person comes out. We're not sure who they are. Because they're wearing a mask, of course. And this music begins playing from nowhere. It's basically sort of, it's very heavy violins going very quickly. And they set to work, starting to cook. Apparently, a little sign appears that says that they are cooking a dish of enigmas.
Mm.
So they're literally doing a mystery dish?
Why, yes. Yes,
Good
they
name
are.
was,
Guess they're not taking requests at this time.
Can we trust a chef that's not willing to show their face?
Does Chantanelle say that loud enough for the chef to hear?
Yes.
So, you just sort of, for a moment, just kind of looks up at you. And I wish in a way, I kind of wish I knew gourmet cuisine better, because I need something nice here. But here's what he does. He basically
Baked
looks at you
Alaska.
for a second.
That's high cuisine.
He
What is?
Baked Alaska.
baked Alaska. He tosses a. So as he's preparing something, it's like he tosses some kind of a vegetable up into the air, and brings up a knife and slices it in such a way that half of it comes spiraling towards you and lands on a plate right in front of you.
You got your wish.
That's what you wanted, right? You wanted your food thrown at you?
Right?
Indeed.
It didn't have to
Okay,
actually
judgment.
pelt you, did it?
Well, I don't know. I've yet to experience a true experience like that yet.
It's fair.
I can't yet afford those restaurants.
It costs more for someone to fling food at you.
Would assume so.
So apparently, so a couple of people just sort of looked over, have kind of someone sitting near you has just sort of looked over. Oh, that's very auspicious. You got the zucchini of perplexity.
What does that mean?
No one knows. Not for
How is it
sure.
auspicious if you don't know what it means?
Oh. It means something different to everyone, I think.
Could it then mean something bad, but only to specific people?
Oh, maybe. It's hard to say.
Does it even have any real meaning, though, unless you actually sample it?
Precisely. It's like sort of a tangled web of uncertainty that in and of itself can only help you find your own true meaning.
I feel like this is the perfect dish for Chantanelle.
This sounds like something I would eat. Yes, I can try it.
It does look like he is in the process, by the way, also of making something that looks kind of like a baked Alaska, as this is going on.
Interesting combination of things.
It's kind of ringed with this zucchini on the outside, so it's obviously, and there's something he's doing to it. He's preparing the zucchini in a sort of a strange way, sort of in and of itself. It's doing that thing where he's sort of he's kind of caramelizing some sugar, and he's sort of applying it. He's doing it where these zucchini rings are gonna get coated in kind of a sugary thing.
Dessert zucchini?
Yes. But Shantano, do you want to try just a raw little hasp of the zucchini of perplexity?
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
mean, it was served to me, right? I'm not just.
It was served to you. Yes.
He apparently
Absolutely.
served it to you before he did whatever he was planning on doing to it, though.
Yes, before he started deserting the rest of it up. He heard your statement and took it as a challenge.
Is he going to throw you dessert zucchini as well?
Well, I've got to draw another card. Oh my god. See what happens when Shantano eats this, right? Okay. This is beautiful. All right. Would you like to know what card I've drawn?
Sure.
I have drawn the golden ship.
We're going to ship Shantano with the zucchini.
That's right. It's this is a notions card. It means wealth earned, honor, prestige, respect. There are many ships, but only one golden ship. This legendary vessel supposedly carries only the greatest heroes, the most influential celebrities, the highest nobles, and the most powerful Vizsla to ports of call most people cannot even imagine. Even seeing the ship is a great honor. It represents wealth and prestige.
Wow.
My.
One will earn.
Why do we
wealth,
draw
fame, respect,
cards
and all
like
three.
this when we're eating zucchini?
This is like one of the best possible cards you can get in the game. And
Seriously?
And it's pulled for eating
For zucchini.
vegetable. That is awesome. Of all the places that we could have used help.
so if you imagine, if you will, what the ultimate form of Shantano would be like. If you can picture in your mind, in your mind's eye,
Might be slightly terrifying.
like Shantano brought to their most positive conclusion, where they basically understand everything
Ooh.
and can be whomever they wish. If that could be a particular form, or that could be just an ever-changing thing, perhaps. It could be as you see it. As you bite into this zucchini and you fall into this sort of trance for a moment, there is this point where you feel as though you are in touch with this higher Shantano. This ultimate Shantano, if you will. The most Shantano of all possible Shantanos.
Does it register on me physically? Like, can other people tell?
It might, because you have the ability to shift yourself. Now, this is just a vision you're having, but at the same time, you can you sort of get briefly this insight, right? And you know you're not there yet, but you, I think, possibly for the first time, have a link to an understanding of how it can be done, of how it can be possible, that you can actually come to understand everything. This sort of strange ultimate Shantano.
Like from
That-
brief moments,
Yeah.
anyone looking at Shantano would see what like they would see like all their cracks like glow blue for a quick second and then stop glowing because all of a sudden there are no cracks. You know, almost like they're a completely whole person. Just for a quick, brief millisecond.
And I will say
we-
in that moment, you remember something. that you had not recalled yet because of the war and all that, and going away into the gray. Something key and vital, you think, to what the core of what Shantano is. And I cannot tell you what that is. That is something that only you can tell me what that is. But that is a thing that comes to you in this moment. And then, of course, the as the taste fades, and you are reminded of this ideal. The vision doesn't. I mean, you're not having the vision anymore, but you recall it, and you know that it's possible to understand everything you need to. It's just a question of getting there.
I think I can tell you what it is that he remembers.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers that all change should lead to a conclusion.
Very good. So that's what you remember.
That's what they remember.
Yeah. So yeah, Mac and Naroshka, you see this happen from the outside.
Do we have to roll a perception, or did we perceive for that one brief millisecond that he was whole?
Well, I assumed you were watching them eat the zucchini.
Yes.
So I know, Shantanu, how obvious would this be to anyone watching you?
I don't know. I feel like only Mac and Aroshka might really realize what was going on.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually know Shantanu.
Yeah. So you see it. You don't have the vision. You just see it. You see the change, really.
That seemed very un-Shantanu. Or is that the Shantanu that was trying to be? That he's striving to be? Man. Can't wait to dig in and see what this zucchini will show me.
At that, the dish bursts into flames.
Oh no!
And,
You see, Mac was slowly reaching for it, and then pulls back in surprise when it combusts.
It's reached its peak. Unfortunately, with that vision, it cannot possibly compete with itself after that. So I'm afraid the rest of your zucchini committed suicide.
Oh my. That was quite good.
That's some pretty intense zucchini. That's some pretty intense zucchini.
I think that's probably top 3 dish in our adventure.
Yeah. And I think I feel as though that's probably a good place to end this session tonight.
Yet another culinary adventure here. Invisible Sun.
So just to recap, top 3 are the grilled cheese of certainty, the zucchini of perplexity, and I want to say the dancing pastries.
The dancing pastries were pretty good.
There were dancing pastries.
We are going to have to release a cookbook at the end of this game. You realize that, right? Oh my god.
Oh, we got what we asked for.
That's right. You got exactly what you asked for. But
That shot was worth it.
yeah, you know, and then the kind of zucchini Alaska is pretty good. But,
Zucchini Alaska.
but we will explore those things further, perhaps next time. Let us know. I mean, that's what the old saying is. If you've got to end on an exploding zucchini. That's, I think,
That's
very
a classic.
time-honored. Yeah, time-honored rule. So we're going to go around and we're going to do our outros now. And folks can... Oh, actually, sorry, before we do our outros. My God, I almost forgot. We've got to do our end of session stuff. So, let's see. Yeah. So, we're going to go through and just sort of ask. And I think I am going to go in reverse order for this, just for the hell of it. We're talking about joy and despair once again. So starting with Mac, Anino, do you think that you did anything to warrant joy or despair this session?
I feel like there should be some despair because he just missed out on an opportunity to see a better future, or at least see something towards developing his own skills.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Despair for you. And now for Arushka, did anything happen this session you think that would have warranted joy or despair?
Don't think so.
Okay. All right. Let me see here. Let me make sure how am I writing these down? I don't know. I shall have to relearn what my what my system is here, because yeah, we'll figure that out anyway. Right. And so for Shantanu, did we yeah, go ahead.
I suspect it might be a joy. Just...
I feel as though it's possible. We'll give you a joy for that.
I'm just seeing the ultimate future of Shantanu.
Ultimate Shantanu.
Shantanu above all Shantanus.
Uber Shantanu.
Final form, Shantanu.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, that's where we are. We're going to go ahead now, and we're going to go around and do our outros. Feel free to say any final thoughts about this session and where folks can find you. And we shall start with Anino.
Hi, my name's Anino. You can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. Updated schedule, you can find that on my website, which is right there linked to aninogaming.com. Today was interesting. We always find a way to scrape together something out of nothing. And, zucchini of perplexity is right up there with grilled cheese of certainty. So I'm glad for this experience. But anyway, you'll find me here twice tomorrow. I believe there's a Invisible Sun development session, as well as Dark Sun or Dark Matter.
Dark Sun?
I'm like, whoa, sorry. Sorry. No Dark Sun for you, Jim.
Curses.
Not yet.
Close.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yes, Dark Matter. Yes, that too.
But I'll leave Jim to tell you more details about that later.
Cool. All right, and over to Arras.
Hello, I'm Arras or Animus.Panthera. I'm Animus Panthera or Animus.Panthera pretty much everywhere, although you can mostly find me on Twitter. I'm a real-life zoologist. I love to talk about animals, gaming, cosplay. At the moment, I'm giving away, I suppose I could reblog that. I'm giving away free dice every month, all this year. So if you want some free dice, I'll reblog it so it's at the top of my feed. The only place you can find me gaming is right here on Saturdays playing Invisible Sun. So come back next time.
Excellent. Good. And Wilde.
Yes, I'm Wild Engineer on Twitch and Twitter. You can find me here on Saturdays and also earlier in the day for some D&D set in Teldoray. Today was great. It's very appropriate that our best cards come during food.
It is, isn't it?
Only when we're doing something unimportant.
Something slightly benign.
This is it's a slice of life game, man. That's cooking shows are totally part of that. But this game is part RPG, part cooking show. I feel that's basically what this is.
We now have to make a recipe for zucchini baked Alaska.
Yeah, that's true. We gotta start looking for that. Oh my god, awesome. All right, so as for me, I'm Jim, and this is all my fault. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and some of my fiction and games that I've been working on, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. So tomorrow, as stated previously, we have a development session of Invisible Sun that's going to be happening in the one-shot slot tomorrow afternoon, where we will have Mac back, and we will also be introducing 2 new characters. These are guest characters that are be coming on for a session. Rekthin and Elitris, which will be played by guests Lloyd and Anik. Who are going to be coming on, and we'll be seeing there's some interesting synergies going on between their characters, and I'm sort of curious to see what they and Mac do. And of course, Sunday evening we have Dark Matter, Ghosts of Saltmaw. It's Ghost of Salt Marsh in Space, run by Alyssa. It is a wonderful game, and we are trying. We're now quite suddenly going out to rescue a bunch of folks from a planet that is full of brainworms. So that'll be delightful. We're all going to die, quite possibly. And let's see. Further on this channel on Tuesday afternoon, we continue our short campaign of Las Vegas. That's a game that is basically a round-robin GM set in a strange, twisted, hellish version of Las Vegas, and sort of a combination of David Lynch and Quentin Tarantino. So lots of violence and strangeness, and lots of tarot cards as well. And then, of course, Wednesday nights we're trying to get back to doing our Masks campaign, Rebels with a Cause. We've been at a sort of on a little bit of hiatus, and we're going to see if we are able to come back this Wednesday. It just depends on how everybody's lives got shifted around a little bit, and so we're just sort of waiting to a little bit to see how folks are doing, how they're feeling. So generally, we'll know more. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it this Wednesday, but we'll see how soon. Just got to give folks enough time to kind of do what they got to do. But eagerly awaiting that coming back. And then, of course, back around to Saturdays, where we will have more of this. And we shall see, perhaps we'll see what happens when the actual head chef arrives.
Wait, that wasn't the head chef?
That was not the head chef.
Oh my god.
That was just the assistant chef. The unknown, the masked chef is not known.
Mystery chef.
That was the mystery chef. But sign-ups are still open right now. for a little bit longer for a couple of things. We have a mini campaign of Monster of the Week starting up in April, and signups are open for that until Monday, March 30th. So just a couple of days. Then we have signups are open for the Sprawl. That is also a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's a cyberpunk game. Signups for, that's going to be starting about midway through April with guest MC Brian. That is signups for that end on Wednesday, April 1st. So you can feel free, if you so desire, to sign up for either of those. You can go down and click on our RPG sign up, or go to gymyesthatgym.com and click on game sign up. As always, beginners are welcome. So when we hit the end card, what shall we do? We shall send a raid over to, well, let's do it. We're going to raid Off the Table. They're having their monthly Otterthon. Off underscore the table are having their monthly their Otterthon to sort of help out their help them continue going. I participated in the last couple of them. So we're going to go over and say hi to them. Feel free to hang on if you are so inclined and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will see you next week. Farewell.